What if I told you that the reason most people stay broke has absolutely nothing to do with how much money they make? Here is the uncomfortable truth. The Federal Reserve found that nearly 37% of Americans cannot cover a $400 emergency out of pocket. Total household debt has blown past $17 trillion. And yet, almost every single person already knows the rules they should be following. So why is almost nobody actually doing it? Today, we are breaking down the 7 most obvious financial principles that most people completely ignore. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly why knowing is not the same as doing. Let's start with the foundation that literally everything else is built on. Spend less than you earn. It sounds almost insultingly simple, but consider this. The U.S. median household income sits around $75,000 a year, which is genuinely enough to build real financial security over time in many parts of the country. And yet the personal savings rate has dropped into the low single digits, sometimes falling below 5%. Why? Because in modern culture, spending has become deeply connected to identity. The car you drive, the neighborhood you live in, the vacations you post online, they all signal status. Every time your income rises, the pressure to upgrade your lifestyle rises right alongside it. This is lifestyle inflation, and it silently destroys wealth before it ever gets a chance to grow. The fix is to automate savings before you spend a single dollar on anything else. But once you have that margin, where should it go first? The answer might surprise you. Before you even think about the stock market, you need a real emergency fund. The standard recommendation is 3 to 6 months of essential living expenses sitting in accessible liquid cash. If you work in a volatile industry or are self-employed, that number should be closer to 6 to 12 months. The Social Security Administration estimates that 1 in 4 20-year-olds will experience some form of disability before reaching retirement age. Life is genuinely unpredictable in ways we consistently underestimate. A high-yield savings account or Treasury money market fund can earn around 4% or more in stronger rate environments. So your safety net actually grows while it sits there. But the real power of an emergency fund is psychological. When you know you have a runway, you stop making desperate decisions. You negotiate better. You take smarter career risks. You do not panic sell your investments during market downturns. Speaking of destroying your financial progress, the next rule is one most people actively violate every single day. Avoid consumer debt. The average credit card APR in the United States currently sits between 20 and 25%, and total U.S. credit card debt has surpassed $1 trillion. The wild part is that most people are not accumulating that debt on major purchases. They are financing groceries, streaming subscriptions, and casual dinners out at a rate that would make any serious investor deeply uncomfortable. Carry a $5,000 balance at 22% APR, making only minimum payments, and you could spend years digging out while handing the bank thousands of dollars in pure interest. That is money that could have been compounding in your favor instead. Compound interest works in both directions, quietly building wealth when you are on the right side and quietly dismantling it when you are not. Once you eliminate the debt, the next move is where the real game begins. Invest early and consistently. The single most powerful variable in investing is not how much you put in. It is when you start. The S&P 500 has historically returned around 7 to 10% annually over the long term. Someone investing $400 a month starting at age 25 with a 9% average annual return could accumulate somewhere between $1.5 and $2 million by age 65. Someone starting that exact same habit at age 35 might end up with over $1 million less. Same amount, same discipline, 10 years of difference. If your employer offers a 401k match, contribute enough to capture all of it because that is essentially a guaranteed return on part of your investment. Never walk away from free money, but investing more requires earning more. And that brings us to a rule most people are too comfortable to pursue. Increase your income. There is a hard ceiling on how much you can save by cutting expenses alone. Housing, healthcare, and education costs have been rising faster than general inflation for years, meaning discipline by itself is often not enough. The good news is that the digital economy has created real opportunities to monetize skills that would have had zero market value 20 years ago. Freelancing, consulting, content creation, and digital services have become legitimate primary income sources for millions of people. Skill stacking, combining two or three complementary abilities, often creates far more market value than going deep on just one. And statistically, switching jobs tends to produce faster salary growth than waiting for raises in the same role. Your skills have real market value. You just need to know what that value actually is. But here's the trap that catches almost everyone who does manage to earn more. Controlling lifestyle inflation is the rule that trips up even high earners. When the raise comes through and the extra income starts flowing in, expenses somehow rise to meet it almost automatically. New car, bigger apartment, upgraded everything. This happens because of hedonic adaptation. Humans adjust rapidly to improved circumstances and return to a baseline level of satisfaction. The upgrade that felt exciting in spring feels completely ordinary by fall, and the cycle repeats. Genuinely wealthy people tend to maintain surprisingly controlled personal spending relative to what they earn. When income increases, consider directing roughly 70% of that increase towards savings and investments, while using the remaining 30% to enjoy your progress. The gap between what you earn and what you spend is not wasted opportunity. It is investment fuel. And without a plan for one final destination, none of this momentum matters as much as it should. Plan actively for retirement and stop relying on Social Security alone. The Social Security Trust Fund could face benefit reductions as early as the mid-2030s, based on current projections if no legislative changes are made. The average monthly benefit today replaces roughly 40% of pre-retirement income. The other 60% has to come from somewhere, and with Americans routinely living into their 80s, that somewhere needs to last decades. The 4% rule gives you a practical framework, suggesting a well-diversified retirement portfolio can sustain annual withdrawals of 4% without running dry over a 30-year period. Increasing your contribution rate by just 1 or 2 percentage points each year often goes unnoticed in your monthly budget, but can translate into hundreds of thousands of additional dollars over time. None of what we covered today is secret knowledge. The people building lasting financial stability are not doing extraordinary things. They are doing ordinary things with extraordinary consistency. You do not need to start perfectly, you just need to start. If this helped you, hit the like button and subscribe so you never miss content like this.